packet from the USA and the Caribbean. Yes, SwiftPack is now offering more frequent services and excellent rates for air cargo from the USA and between the Caribbean islands. For reliable air cargo shipments, daily courier services, and weekly ocean cargo to and from St. Vincent, contact SwiftPack Interprime Cargo by email cargo@swiftpack.com. Call our cargo hub at 246-624-3003 or contact your local SwiftPack agent. SwiftPack, send it fast.
What gets you vexed? What's burning you? Don't let it raise your pressure. Get it off your chest. Let it out. Tell us what gets you vexed. Call 485-9797.
I don't get no mix and change. Thanks for the compliment to SwiftPack this morning. Remember, Christmas is around the corner. Whatever you want to send it, send it. Wherever you're sending for. Wherever you're bringing. SwiftPack, big box, everything, the day and the wait. And morning, Brendan, everybody. What is Gabe? For the compliment.
You asked a good question just now. If you don't vote, what are your rights to public comment on public issues? You still have full rights?
I think you do.
Yeah.
If you don't vote, okay, good. But again, you're working, so you're paying taxes. Your own property, maybe. And
so if you pay taxes, that should be the
or is it just that if you have intention? If I'm a kid, if I'm 16, 17, I can't vote.
Right.
Still have the right to comment.
Right. So doesn't the same apply?
But I think the biggest expression of opinion on issues is that vote.
Yeah.
It's not really though, is it?
Oh, is it?
Because you're not voting on one issue.
Okay.
I don't understand in this day and age, with the technology that is available for all of us to have an opinion and express it.
To register your opinion on it.
Why can't we vote on issues?
And that's not to say that even if the vote goes one way, is it that you have to do it that way?
I think so, yeah.
Or you've seen the public opinion.
I think if you have let's say you have an issue, let's say on let's say the death sentence. All right, if you're found guilty of the death sentence, you should have
like if you're found guilty of murder, capital murder, you get death sentence.
You don't think people should have a right to vote on that?
Yeah, you have the right to express your opinion on it.
No, but almost like we could have decisions based off single issue votes. What would be wrong with that? If that's what the population want.
Because sometimes, right?
Let's say you have a vote on, you have one issue, right? Whatever that issue is. There's enough technology out there now where you could have the issue, you could have 3 months of debating back and forth and the various sides giving their opinion on it. Mm-hmm. And then in this particular window, this date, through your phone, you could vote on it. And that would become law at the end of it, depending on which way it went. What's wrong with that?
I think the difficulty arises where if you've elected me to make decisions, right? And issues come up and we all still have to put it down to another vote. Why did you really elect me? And if it's now coming down to who can argue the points the best, then it might not always be the best outcome. It might be who could argue the best.
Yeah, but I mean that applies to anything, huh? But you're given enough time. Remember, right? It wouldn't just be political parties. It would be civic groups. It could be interest groups, all wade into the public debate on it. And then at the end of all of that, you have a vote. Because apparently one of the things that happens is that consistently the populations want death penalties, but politicians typically don't.
Hello?
Oh, that's ringing.
Hot 97.
Hot 97.
Hello, good morning.
Why you know this number, boy?
Come by there. Where the back way on mainland? Reach back up?
Yeah, on the helicopter yet?
You don't ask my business right there.
We're tracking you, Kenton. We're tracking you.
Good morning, folks, and good morning to your listeners. How are you guys doing? I guess you guys have voted already.
Not yet, man. We've been looking 6, man.
But you guys plan to vote?
Of course.
We're voting.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, on a serious note, we need to, I think it's very important for everybody to exercise their right to vote.
Yeah.
Vote for whoever you want to vote. That's very important for democracy.
So what are you doing in Beckway?
Well, I mean, Luke, as you know, I'm the kind of journalist who tries to anticipate the story. So I came to Becca yesterday just to get a sense of how things are. When you have a general election, one can never know how the results are going to go. Ordinarily, what I would do, I would write 2 reports in case either of the parties win. And then, of course, the only one that gets published is the one that wins.
Right.
But in light of how things were going, I thought it would be appropriate to come to Becca and do some coverage from here. Just in case the election goes one way as opposed to the other. Some people might interpret that in all kind of different ways, but I'm a professional. I go according to my training, so I try to anticipate the story and prepare for it. And
what are you saying in Beckway this morning?
Well, Becca, as always, is cool and lovely. Cool and lovely. Yesterday when I came down here, I was shocked at how quiet the island was. None of those horns and all kind of whatnot. A lot of tourists were milling around.
Right.
But this morning, just cool. Oh my gosh! For those of us who don't come to Beckway, we don't know what we are missing. Yeah, but I had the opportunity to speak to a few people, at least those who are willing to speak to them on camera, because I'm hoping to put together a video report. And people gave me their experience with polling. I started in La Pop, which is on the south side of the island. I was there before the polling station opened. I was able to speak to the first non-electoral voter who voted in the elections. He said the process went very smooth. This is his 3rd election, and he's always been in those 3 elections, the first person to vote. He's 32, and he spoke to me about the issues that are important to him, which I will not discuss now because the polling is still going on. Then I came to Port Elizabeth, and I went to the Learning Center where there's a long line there, and one of the people who I spoke to on record, she complained about how long the process was taking, but people seem committed to waiting out. The professors had some suggestions about how it could be improved to make it more comfortable for people to vote. But that's a situation here in
we saw a similar report from, I think it's from Langley Park, where they're saying that there were long lines, but it was a bit slow.
Well, I also got that report from Renan Hill. So I don't know if it's a function of people thinking that the process should move faster than it is moving. I think that could be it, because when you're going to vote, the presiding officer has to explain certain things to you, and that would take time. They have an obligation to explain. So I don't know if that is what is contributing to the lines, presumably moving slow, or people perceiving them to be moving slow. But I mean, it's part of the process, and we have to be committed to it. It only comes around once every 5 years.
Yeah.
So if we don't take advantage of it, then tomorrow we start complaining. What's the sense of that? Yes, go ahead.
Did you get any reports of how do people who live in like the Southern Grenadines maneuver getting down? Do they have to take the plane? It takes quite a long time to take the ferry.
I'm on my way back to Kingston, and as I was coming on, there was an interaction that I observed, and I got the impression that the political parties had made preparations for the supporters to travel among the islands. Right. I don't know if the state provides any transportation for people to go and vote, but I get a sense that those people who are committed to voting, they are making their way from wherever they are, whether in St. Vincent to Bedford or Bedford back to St. Vincent, or I presume from among the other islands to cast their vote.
Okay. I always thought that it would be pretty efficient if maybe like on the wharf or the cruise ship terminal site there was a polling station for
people who live in it. Yeah. Well, that's a suggestion that we could take. I mean, this is the digital age, and we have to move towards digitizing everything. I mean, I don't see any reason why, if you live in Union Island, you're casting a ballot in Union Island, you have to physically go from St. Vincent to Union Island just to cast your ballot. I think that is I think Jomo Thomas has suggested this. He set up a polling station in St. Vincent on St. Vincent Island for people who live elsewhere in the Grenadines, and say if you're voting in such and such a place, you can go to this polling station and vote for convenience, because one of the good things about St. Vincent is that we have beautiful multi-islands, and we have to work with those challenges.
Right.
What do you think on a slightly different note? What do you think about bringing in using technology so where people could start voting on single issues?
Well, that's more like for a referendum rather than an election. And election is a referendum.
Not necessarily for you know, it would be a different type of democracy where parties become less important, and the issues become, you know, like more central.
But then we would have to think that through very thoroughly, because if you're voting on an issue, then how do we decide who gets elected based on those issues?
Or do you even need them to be elected?
Well, how do we get a government then?
Stateless government, a government-less state,
a government run by the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about the practicalities of it. That's why how the popular democracy evolved. But you know, the world is changing. We never know how it's gonna go. Maybe computers will be governing us soon.
Yeah. AI, man. AI.
Let's smart modules. Let computers do all the thinking for us.
Yeah. All right, man.
So you say you're going back up to Kingston?
Yeah, I'm on my way to Kingston, and then I'm gonna try to make visits a few places in St. Vincent and see how it goes.
Quieter.
Well, that
quiet.
Town is quiet.
Work was a normal work in there, right?
Yeah,
it is. But I think like a lot of self-employed people have taken the decision not to go to work. I think people want to be at home by the time the polling stations close and by the time the elections are being announced. So I think things will get a bit more festive later tonight, regardless of the outcome.
You plan to vote?
Of course I plan to vote. Why would I come on radio and encourage everybody to vote and not vote? I'm definitely going to vote.
He's a politician. You say one thing and do another.
You'll be on the road later festive too, or you're a quiet night?
Well, I will be very busy writing, regardless of the results.
All right, man.
All right, brother, take it easy.
Why? You see Chris say he trying to draw Kenton out there, boy.
Yeah, that was Kenton Chance of Eyewitness News.
Party later, Kenton.
All right,
Compliments of
goodbye.